The most millennial thing about me is I can't do casual.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of people can't do casual. I think the only time to do casual is if you're madly in love with someone else.
How do you do casual then?
With someone else.
That's not casual.
How is that not casual?
If
With
you're
them, though, it's casual.
wait, sorry,
If
am
I'm
I not
madly
clocking?
in love with you
Yeah.
and I hook up with someone that's not you, then
That.
my energy towards not you is casual.
But why would you hook up with someone else if you're not madly in love with me? If you are madly in love with me,
Because we're breaking up.
what?
Hi guys, welcome back to Moment of Silence Pod. I'm Sakshi Shivdasani.
I'm Naina Bhan, and we're coming with you fresh with third episode energy. It's
Yeah.
really dank in this shooting space right now.
We've lost a little bit of steam, but we're fine. I feel like you and me, it's been 5 episodes since just you and me have spoken on camera.
I also love like the roller coaster of emotions in audience comments. Some people are like, yuck, why do they have to record so many episodes in a day? Some people are like, they're not even at 100K subscribers. How are they affording all of these people? So yeah, both connected. We shoot 3 in a day because we cannot afford so many people otherwise.
And we also like to talk for 12 hours at
Yeah,
a time.
love
It's
it.
our passion and our hobby.
Too good.
Yeah.
I think the third episode for me is sacred
Same.
because you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. And you don't feel any pressure to take it anywhere because you're like, you know, not every time I meet my friends, I'm at my best.
Yeah.
And when I'm meeting you guys at the end of the day, I expect you all to be like, okay, fuck, I'm also exhausted with work. These two bitches are also exhausted with work.
Yeah, this is
It
what
be like that.
It do be like that
Yeah.
sometimes. I have to start off with my popcorn because it's mandated to save my relation. I'm kidding. My relationship is thriving, and so is my boyfriend slash partner's music career.
Boyfriend slash partner. Take that again.
So I can't say boyfriend.
So
he's
say partner.
old.
Say partner.
Okay. My partner sounds so lame.
Okay, boyfriend.
My person that I love and I've been in a relationship with is Moses Call is an extremely talented musician. If any of you have caught him live or have seen his work, you know he's so amazing on stage, and he has just come out with his first solo music song. I've lost words. He's come out with his first solo single. It is called Gile, and
And if you must have heard his previous hit, which is the intro music of
Of
Moment of
Mars.
Silence. Yes.
true.
Yeah.
True. So, fun fact, which I will remind you that I directed the music video. Also, fun fact, Natasha did the art direction for the music video, which she has killed. The song is damn catchy. Watch it 50, 50, 60, 60 times. Subscribe to his channel, hype his music video, and just give him love.
And fun fact, there is no Moses without Moss. Congratulations, Moses, if you're watching it. I'm very excited. I think I'd heard a sample a year ago.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for everyone to
Finally,
Yeah.
discover him as an artist.
Yeah.
Popcorn?
Now I can't back that, like top that. I think one popcorn is enough.
Okay.
See, she has the pop on her mic. We have a new
Yes.
mic charms. That is the popcorn. I have the flop on the mic, but luckily for y'all, I don't have a flopcorn either. I'm in flow state. I'm neutral.
I feel like your roller coaster flop to pop is that you have found and lost and found your suitcases.
Oh my god. Yeah, I feel like by the time this episode comes out, it's going to be a couple of weeks.
True, but it's a story worth telling.
I will say it. So basically, I was in Croatia, but I was flying out of Amsterdam to come back to India. So Croatia to Amsterdam, I had to check in my suitcases. I got my suitcases. Amsterdam to Mumbai, direct flight. I'm very cheap with flights, but I paid for Indigo Stretch, which is basically KLM economy types. And I was like, it's fine, 9-hour flight, little bit rest, whatever. It's a direct flight. And On the at the counter, I said, "Listen, my bag is slightly broken because fucking Europe, my Remova has chitro has come up apart, but sure, whatever." I put some stickers on it. I said, "I'll fix it once I'm back in Bombay." Put a priority sticker so it comes first. Now I'm sitting on the flight, and it's a 9.5 hour flight to begin with. We are landing at 2:55 a.m. in Mumbai because 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Mumbai airport was shutting down that day for some service work. Now some fucker had to get off the flight, okay, for some reason. So they had to deboard him, and then our flight kind of extended that 5 minutes. So we now were landing at 4:30 in the morning because we had to wait then. Whatever. So I'm already in a bad mood. Okay, I'm trying to sleep. I sleep for 1 hour tops. 8 hours I'm awake in this flight. This flight has become a prison cell for me. I'm not enjoying. I'm not vibing at all. Then I reach, and I very rarely pray to the universe. But I went and I said, I swear to God, please, if my bag comes first, I will not swear for a day. Or you make compromises with the universe at some point. So I'm like, please, please, please. My fingers are crossed. I'm like, please, please, please. And I'm like, obviously it'll come. I've never lost a bag. I've never, it's always a fear, but I've never lost a bag. So I was like, don't be ridiculous, Sakshi. Don't be ridiculous. All the fucking bags come. Every single one. And mine doesn't come. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. No harm done. I go to the lady at the counter and I'm like, have all the bags arrived? Because my bag hasn't arrived. And she says, there's 6 more bags left to come. Please wait. By this point, it's already 4:45. I'm really tired, really cranky, but I'm like, okay, cool, fine. And I'm waiting. I wait for half an hour more. Bag hasn't come. And then I'm like, is the bag coming? And then she was like, what's your baggage tag number and everything? So I give it to her, and I'm like, by this point I'm tearing up, okay, because I really just wanted to go home. I had kind of organized my logistics in a way that sushi was already at my apartment. Like, it was just like, whatever. I'm a very type A anal, like I'm very like cut type of person. So I'm like sobbing at this point, sure. And then I'm like, but how can y'all not know where my bag is? If you tell me you left it in Amsterdam, I will fill the report and I will go home. If you tell me it's in Mumbai, I will wait. Now, unless you have thrown my bag out in the middle of the flight, I do not understand why this direct flight bag is not there. And then in the middle of all this, obviously my voice is getting raised, like I'm getting irritated. She said, by the way, love your videos. And I was like, what do I do with now? Obviously now I have to be slightly nice.
No, you don't.
I wasn't. Thank you. And then I'm like, okay, you tell me where my bag is. I'll file the fucking report. Now, on the report, you can't write that goods in your bag are more than a certain amount, even used goods.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I don't have to pay customs on used goods, right? I've already paid customs on those goods. No. And then I was like, so then tomorrow, if you lose my bag, I'm only going to get what, 300 USD back, which doesn't make any sense because I have my shit in that bag. And she was like, ma'am, you'll get your money. This is just for customs. Otherwise, you'll have to come to the airport to pick up your bag. I said, I want to talk to your boss.
Since when did anyone get a handsome refund from Indigo?
Literally.
No one. You will get a samosa and a pat on the back and they'll send you on your way.
And then they're like, ma'am, you're a stretch passenger. I said, what do I do with this info? I know what I am. Where is my bag? At this point, I'm tearing up because that bag is lifetime warranty.
Listen, you know what is in Sakshi's bag, right? Sakshi, that bag is everything. That bag is a capsule of her essence. Because
Literally.
she has spent 3 months scanning the internet, every Instagram shop, every Revolve store to make this one perfect beach wardrobe that takes her from day to night and then back to day. And you can't.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
And it's not, I'm sorry, it's a beautiful wardrobe. It's like there's sundresses, there's short dresses, there's cocktail dresses, there's daytime peasant blouses, there's wraps. There are wraps for her swimsuit.
I'm so fucking attached to this bag. Y'all don't even understand. Then finally, 6:45, I have left the airport because you ask any of these people, where's the bag? And they all have a script, which is like, we're very sorry for your inconvenience. I'm so sorry for your baggage delay. As of now, our team will investigate. I said, it's either in Amsterdam or it's in Mumbai, bro. And in the middle of this, like, so many people are recognizing me. I'm fucking raising my voice, okay? I'm like, bro, what is going on? Where's my bag? Blah, 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 blah. Finally, I'm like, I told one employee, I'm so fucking embarrassed also, because I was like, I don't care. Till you don't tell me anything, I'll follow you around. I have nothing going on for me. It's a Sunday. I'll come to your house if I have to. She's like, ma'am, please. I was like, fine. Then I go home. I'm obviously sobbing in the car. Then I go, Arjun is there, Sushi's there. I'm crying at home. I open my cabin bag, and the only things that were in my cabin bag, luckily, were my handbags and two fucking jerseys that I picked up for Arjun, which ended up being fake, by the way. So really, and I was so upset because I was like, then at least two of my tops or something would have been exchanged in that, but whatever, theek hai. Now, I'm not gonna get sleep, but my dad and Arjun had told me, now enough. Like, you can, and I told my dad, I was like, obviously, your ugly clothes you don't care about that much. My clothes, they're my life, they're my life, my life. And I booked my tickets on Amex, so I would have gotten a refund for whatever. But can a refund thrift those clothes again for me? No.
No.
So, sure, whatever. So, then I waited to go home. I waited for Arjun to leave, and I said, now I'm going to call Indigo again. It's my time. I'm jet lagged. I will call Indigo. Now, this guy, Abhishek, I remember his name also. I said, Abhishek, where's my bag? Like, and he said, ma'am, the baggage department is shut for the day. Now, for context, when I was flying to Amsterdam, I got stopped at the airport for having a pending payment of 48 paise. And it was a glitch, obviously, on their system, so they couldn't let me pay for it. And at that point, when I had tried to call Indigo customer service, I know the story is long, I'm sorry.
No, it's a good story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried to call customer service, and customer service did not answer for half an hour. So I said, clearly, why are you all even doing this customer service? Ma'am, I'm sorry for your inconvenience. Like, this is all they know how to say. I said, just tell me if you've placed the bag. Again, they're saying there's no record of my bag. And I said, but you gave me the baggage tag. I have the baggage tag. You all filed the like personal items missing report or whatever. And they said, yes, ma'am, but it is not in Amsterdam, and it is not in Mumbai, and it is not on the flight. And then I called one more person. They said nothing, doing whatever. When there's after 48 hours, we will locate your bag, and then we will get back to you. So I was like, you know what? Fuck Indigo. Indigo is not making any sense. So I called Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. And I said, I was on XYZ flight and my bag has not reached Mumbai. It's a direct flight. It might be at Amsterdam. So she gave me D-Nata's number, which is the company that handles logistics for Indigo at Schiphol Airport.
Crazy.
So I get their head office number. They give me an email. So I email them and I CC Indigo on this. And she tells me, your bag has arrived in Mumbai, like, the following day ka flight, so 24 hours later. Amazing. I'm happy. It's now Monday 4 a.m., which means the flight has just landed. So I'm like, okay, the bag will be there in the morning. So I go to sleep. At 11 a.m. I wake up. I have no information, and Indigo has still been quiet. They're saying, sorry for the inconvenience, we will locate your bag after 48 hours. So I'm like, okay, fine, but I have confirmation. Then all day I'm calling Indigo. Indigo has no answers. They're like, ma'am, we haven't found your bag. We haven't found your bag. I don't know about D-Nata. We don't work with D-Nata. All this dhap they're giving me. So I said, okay, fine, cool. At 6:30 p.m., a delivery boy calls me and says, aapka parcel hai, whatever. At 7 p.m., that bag has reached me. Okay?
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, fuck, great. Now, the next morning, Indigo calls me and says, ma'am, we're so sorry that your bag is missing. Our team is still locating the bag. So I said, okay. And I cut the call. Why should I give you any information? I have tracked this bag down. Then this morning also I've gotten an email from Indigo. Sorry for the inconvenience caused by your baggage being missing. Rest assured, our team is still working on it. So I'm going to take that email and get the fucking refund. Fuck Indigo, chore.
Fuck monopolies. Fuck, really. Please
like
keep people in the market. Multiple players.
Literally. And then I was like, I'll never fly Indigo again. But where if I have
Where
to...
will you
yeah.
go? You might as well fucking grow wings then.
Literally. Because I'm so upset.
By the way, this is prefacing this, and this is our last sadness against Indigo, which was that when Sakshi and Karima arrive at the airport from Mumbai to go to Amsterdam, they have booked 2 tickets on this flight, and they reach the counter and they're like, "Your ticket is cancelled."
Karima's ticket they cancelled.
And then they rebought the same ticket.
Yeah, and I was like, but y'all have not given me a refund because I had cancelled one leg of Karima's ticket, which they gave me a refund for that leg. They didn't give me a refund for this leg, and on the app, it still shows that the ticket is there. They're like, actually, you can't cancel one leg. Then I said, why are you allowing me that option?
Yeah.
And why has my refund not come? If you have cancelled both legs, why have I only gotten a refund for one leg? Ma'am, that was a miss from our end. तो तेरे end से ही miss होगा ना, मेरे end से तो मैंने जो करना था मैंने किया. You try to fucking log into the Indigo app, some rubbish message will come.
And the thing is, push comes to shove, you and I can figure out a different system. Right? We can book a different flight.
Yeah.
But it's not fair that every day somebody is dissatisfied and is being held hostage by some random system.
Literally.
And everyone is, even not like the staff that's working for the company has it better, right? Like,
Agreed.
everyone across the board is getting shat on.
And I told the staff, listen, मुझे भी पता है, आपको भी पता है, आपका गलती नहीं है. आप आपके बॉस का नंबर दो, मैं उस पे चिल्लाऊंगी, बट मैं चिल्लाऊंगी तो किसी पे. And my dad's like, you've lost your mind, you've lost your mind. I'm like, bro,
why?
My things are in that bag. It's a direct flight. Ek to I understand if there's a layover.
Yeah.
In a direct flight, how do you lose bags?
That's a special kind of idiocy.
Yeah.
Coming
Moving
to
on.
a lighter, yeah, we have this new thing that we're doing, which is that we want to do a show and tell.
Ooh.
Yeah, and my show and tell is a surprise for the entire team.
Mine is also kind of a surprise.
Do you want to go first or should I go first?
Mine is less interesting, I think.
Okay. So, I'll tell you what I did. I was cleaning my cupboard the other day and there was a bunch of stuff and I was like, okay, I don't want to throw this away. I want to try and figure out something more responsible with this. So I had these 2 shirts I had thrifted from Hill Road for 50 bucks and they're like cool shirts, but they were too big and I was like, I always look at them and I'm like, I don't know how to style them. So I'm like, let me just go back to our favorite tailor.
Nazir.
Yes, and let me just like rework the shirts. Okay, so this is my favorite Zara top as a thing to copy. Okay,
Yeah.
and so we decided to get creative with the paneling. I had this one shirt that had horses on it.
Ooh.
So I have made this horse shirt.
That is so pretty.
Yeah, right? I had this one blue shirt which had some little embroidery on it. So then we made a patchwork blue
Oh my god.
embroidery shirt.
Nazir.
Killed it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's 2 different PRs where they've sent me silk scarves. And I'm like,
Ooh.
I'm never going to wear a silk scarf. So I've given 2 to get like corsets made. And I'm waiting for the corset.
That. I love that.
Thanks.
For my show and tell, I actually have a puzzle book. It's called Minute Cryptic. I don't know if it's been coming up on you guys' algorithm also, those puzzles that actually make zero sense. But the inspiration behind this book is when you're reading like a thriller or like a mystery and like it's all cryptic till it comes together in the end, and that's your favorite part about reading a mystery book. So it's actually a minute cryptic, like a small cryptic clue that you have to solve, and there's like rules and everything, and it's like it's kind of like Wordle, but it's absolutely insane. Basically, you see a sentence. This is called Little Tune I'm Playing, and the definition is either the first or the last word of every sentence. So you have the answer. It's 6 letters.
Minute.
Yeah,
Huh?
because little is the
Yeah.
So it's the first clue. So you got it.
Yay.
Basically, it's an anagram of tune I'm, because playing is a anagram indicator. So if you write tune I'm and it's minute, which is the definition for little.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been obsessed with this book. It's really difficult to kind of, exercise your brain in ways that is not work related, because I feel like we all get really stuck in work because that is our life. But I like Wordle, I like these New York Times puzzles and all. And Minute Cryptic is the new thing that I enjoy doing.
So cute. Where'd you get it?
So basically, I think there is some sort of online portal where people have been playing it, and then it showed up on my algorithm, and I was like, there has to be a book, like a crossword book is a thing. So I just checked it out and I got it on Amazon.
That's awesome. I thought you got it in Amsterdam or something.
No, I got it on Amazon. I took it for my flight. I tried to get Karima to play it, but I wasn't explaining it very well, and we were under the influence of Amsterdam, so it wasn't making a lot of sense to anyone.
Can we please talk about your vlogs and your fucking heavy ass eyes and the giggling?
Bro, to be fair, Karima and I giggle wherever we go. Even the split vlog is very giggly. I think it's like the essence of our relationship is kiki.
That one video of us in Phuket where we had to say something to camera and I couldn't even open my mouth.
Dude, that Phuket trip was a highlight.
Yeah.
Like I want to recreate that trip in my life.
कभी वापस नहीं आएगा.
Oh, pizza wali masti.
कभी वापस नहीं आएगा.
That was a sentence Naina came up with, and it was just so funny to us. You had to be there because there was no pizza around, so I don't know what that sentence means.
You know what it means to me, and I'll say it. It was a random sentence that came to my mind when we were all doing that art game where you draw for a minute and you pass the canvas on.
Yeah.
And the last canvas that came to me had a pizza, and I wrote on it, "वो pizza वाली मस्ती कभी वापस नहीं आएगी." And the reason behind that is, you know, Pizza Hut.
Where you pissed yourself.
I did piss myself in Pizza Hut once, but Pizza Hut, as an experience when we were younger, was so goated. You know, you'd go there with your family on a special occasion,
Yeah.
and they would make you color things, and they would make you play games, and they would humiliate you on your birthday. But
Yeah.
that wo masti kabhi wapas nahi aayegi. We
That
don't
makes
live in that
sense.
time anymore.
Yeah, we don't live in that time. Also, if someone took me to Pizza Hut today, I don't know. Is Pizza Hut still around?
Yeah, I think they're having a revival.
Really?
Like that dine-in service is happening again abroad, so I guess it'll come here in a few
2
years.
to 3 business years.
Yeah. Now that some time has passed since your last breakup and you're in a healthy relationship.
Last breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like your mind has had time to step away from it.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about like heartbreak?
You know, so maybe not about heartbreak, but I feel like the more I travel with my girlfriends, and I think this trip also, or like the more I get secure in my relationship and my life and everything, that sometimes I get whiplash of my previous relationship, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then you try to bury it, right?
Yeah.
Because and I think the way that I got over the breakup was to kind of like quash everything down, because that's how we kind of deal with most stuff. But I do remember for like a year after the breakup, my DMs were filled with like, how do you get over heartbreak? And we thought we should do an episode on getting over heartbreak.
Yeah. But we are very rusty.
We are rusty, but I will say I can give. I'm sure of like anecdotes of things I've done in the past, at least when I was trying to get over a heartbreak. Like, it's so silly, but you know, if you know your ex stays on your way back home from the gym, but it's not the actual way, it's the detour. You kind of take the detour to hope
Yeah.
to run into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did the other extreme, which was I left the city.
You did leave the
Yeah.
city.
And I always thought, who are those people who escape their circumstance, you know, when they go through a breakup, until it's you yourself who is escaping your
Yeah.
circumstance, and you go to a different city, and I mean, like, you know, nothing around you is familiar. Like, your friends are not familiar, your work is not familiar, the roads are not familiar, and you're like, okay, I can be a whole new person here, which is very cool in theory. But that initial time at least when I moved so broke that I didn't enjoy who I was.
Yeah, but then I feel like it's also something in your head about you're anyway not having a good time.
Yeah.
Because you're going through heartbreak. So might as well get other things out of the way which are going to suck. So that when you're good, you're all good together. Like,
Yeah.
I get the logic behind what you did. I'm not I'm not here to reason
No,
with
no,
a
of course.
heartbroken gal, but I understand, like, if I'm already uncomfortable, like how we talk about, like, if I have a night shoot and I have a day shoot, let me just pull it 24
Yeah.
hours instead of finishing the night shoot, waiting one day and then going back on set.
Yeah, I think more of the fact that, we had the same friends. We had a life that it was very difficult to move out of that life in Delhi because it was just so all encompassing.
Who got the friends?
I didn't get them.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also left, so like, I mean, we're all still fond of each other, but life just moves on in a way that you
Yeah.
can't control being close to
I
people.
do think with my ex and I, we tried to do a Batwara of friends, but
It
then
doesn't work.
luckily I think our friends kind of, they were always like our friends, but they kind of gravitated towards different people. I think none of us fought to be friends with certain people.
I just
But-
miss not being able to have debriefed with my friends. Like, like my ex would have had time to be like, hey, you know what you did, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I never debriefed.
Yeah.
Because I was so confused about everything that happened. I was like, when did it get like this? What happened? And then for me, I didn't move, but I shifted houses. I
Yeah.
kind of did that entire, like, I moved apartments. My ex moved cities.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the one who was here, but at the same time, Moss kind of blew up very close to my breakup because we had still been shooting before that, but there was that cusp that happened around the breakup. So we got a new audience where I didn't really have to explain much to.
Yeah.
So that was also really nice. Work kind of went in, and then the only thing I was actually worried about was that Sushi, I might have to share custody.
Yeah.
But Sushi.
It all worked out.
Sushi picked, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was all good for me.
Did you do like a drastic, actually, you did do a drastic, like a getting into fitness and
I did.
glowing up.
Yeah, I also took, I think, the longest trip of my life, which is 18 days, so not very long, but I don't take more than 7-8 days ka trip. But I went and met my friend in London, and I went to Spain for a bit, and actually that's when my friend and I, who was also in a long-term relationship and she also had a breakup, we realized that, millennial women, or like we at the cusp or whatever, this is a very millennial trait, I think, more than Gen Z, is we never spoke about the bad things in our relationship, and then we were going down that pipeline of like, no, ghar ki baat ghar pe, don't lie. But then because of that, this portrayal of, yeah, my life is perfect, my relationship is perfect, I'm so loved, I'm so this, that kind of got in the way of when I was like, oh, we broke up, no one understood why we broke up. And I didn't want to get into the details, but it was a monster I created because I never debriefed during. And I realized with, like, even saying like I'm madly in love with my boyfriend or I'm obsessed with my boyfriend, that is a newer thing for me, because earlier you're pretty stoic about your relationship. You don't want to gush over your boyfriend, you don't want to insult your boyfriend, but then that kind of becomes its own separate entity, and it's very hard to integrate that boy in your life then.
I've had the flip.
Really?
Because initially I was like, oh, I'm obsessed, every PDA, this is my person, la, la, la. But then while you're doing that and you're ignoring the little fire that's burning inside your house, then the curtains are catching,
Yeah.
Now I'm like in the other zone where I'm like, yes, this is a person I talk to.
My partner
My-
slash boyfriend.
Yeah.
No, for me, I say the fire also. Like, I say, like, we talk a lot, actually, pretty candidly. And even if I've told Naina something about my relationship and vice versa, I have never felt anything but love or admiration towards her partner slash boyfriend. And even if they are having a sort of disagreement,
Yeah.
I'm able to see it objectively because I know that he's good to you and
Yeah.
you love him. So I'm never like, but when you're in college and all, that whole like best friend hating the boyfriend trope is so common.
Yeah.
Or like the dump him. But that's really not a thought that I have anymore. So I imagine that my friends don't have that thought also.
No, actually, recently I was going through something in my head, and I was like, should I breach that conversation I had it with Sakshi? And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm having this conversation. I feel like I'm being very unfair to my partner to have it. And I really enjoyed that at the other side of that conversation. Firstly, you did not demonize or demonize one person and victimize the other person, or be like, it was just like, okay, yeah, take it. Like, you were actually very very objective towards me and my behavior and my interaction. I was like, oh, till this point it was building up in my head till here, and the minute I shared it and the minute it was received with neutrality from Sakshi's side, it fully, all of those feelings just eased out.
Which I think you do for me also. I don't think this is literally, you could be the wrongest person and I would feel comfortable telling you, and vice versa. And at the end of it, I feel like we've all reached that place where, like, as long as we are happy in our lives, it doesn't really matter. And disagreements, when you're intertwined with someone so closely, are bound to happen. And you can't let, like, a good relationship go because of some bad things, and you can't let a bad relationship stay because of some good things. I think that was a very big switch in my head, where I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna be honest to my friends about everything in my life. They can judge me, they can judge my partner, but I know at the end of it they'll be there for me. And that was very difficult of a conclusion for me to come to also.
But do you feel like it depends on who you're trusting with that information? Does everyone get it in your life?
I would say, yeah. I think if I've had a disagreement with my partner, I've told my parents also, I've told you also, and I can't even fathom 5 years ago going to my parents with a discussion. But I think there is something to, when the partner is genuinely good for you, everyone, which I hate, by the way, everyone rallies for your partner. Because I'm also slightly insane. Naina meets Arjun all the time and she'll be like, why are you so mean?
No, I say it to you privately.
Yeah, of course.
I can't let him know.
No, but he knows.
Like, like a mom giraffe with the baby giraffe. Like, go Arjun, say something back. Come on.
He says.
But I'll tell you where where I get stuck. I find myself holding information, not being able to talk to my friends who I have differing political beliefs with. Because even with if you're differing political beliefs, there are chances that you're differing ways that you conduct your life and where you stand in your spectrum of feminism and how you view the world.
Yeah, I actually have not met anyone that I chose to be friends with a different political belief, because I think the people that have differing political beliefs from us already are leading lives parallelly to us.
I think as you grow older, people form different, very concrete opinions. And when you catch it, you're suddenly so confused.
Yeah.
Because now, especially with the last few months, like now when I go on Instagram and I see certain posts that I don't agree with, and I see this one person or random person in my life who has liked and reposted, and I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
What?
Have some shame.
No, I'm like, when did this happen? I'm like, okay, just clocking that, okay, maybe I live my life very differently from a lot of the women in my life and from most of the men in my life. I don't think they might like respect that I have my own space, but I don't think they really understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, they're like, चलो इसका काम चल रहा है तो इसको कुछ ज़्यादा बोल नहीं सकते.
Or as long as she's doing it in her own space, but the way she feels and her philosophy should not rub on to the next person.
Yeah, or my partner.
Yeah. So it's like, वो पागल है.
Pagal. It's like, ऐसे शादी नहीं होती, पागल हो जाए. No, I get what you're saying. I have had the opposite thing where I thought someone was really conservative in their beliefs, so I never discussed politics or anything with them. It's like a tertiary friend in my life. And during the protests, I posted and they responded with a clapping emoji. And I was like, why did I think you were so conservative? And that person was genuinely offended. They were like, what vibe am I giving off? And then I was like, okay, fair. But yeah, I think I'm quick to judge also when someone is leading their life a certain way. I'm quick to judge where they're coming from, but I've been pleasantly surprised, touch wood, even when I thought someone was super conservative and then they weren't.
Yeah.
But the converse has not happened to me. but I don't know how I would react because there are some things like I'm also not, I would say I'm not extreme in my beliefs about a lot of things, but the things I am, then I'm really extreme about. So I think it would be good not to breach that boundary with people.
It's good. Actually, I learned this from Moses, which he's like, there's something. I'm the kind of person who the minute I meet you, obviously not at work, but the minute I meet you, if we get along, like I want to just like spread my life onto you and like overshare and hang out every day. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But he's like, there's something nice about just knowing when to pull back and knowing when to like leave that meeting so that
Yeah.
the sanctity of that relationship is held. There's a
Yeah.
point at which you cross into familiarity where you're like, okay, this got too close. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't want to see this version of this person. I don't know them like that.
No, I fully get that because I'm the person who wants to leave a party when it's at its highest peak.
Yeah.
Which is how I operate my life in any circumstances.
Yeah.
I want to leave at the highest peak. And I think I agree with Moses about there is some you have to leave things unsaid. So if you want to get back to that conversation, you've not nichored
Yeah.
it to
Like,
its-
I feel like if Cinderella had left at 11:50,
Yeah.
she wouldn't have gotten married to the prince. She would have like figured out her own life,
Yeah, but I would want to get married to a prince that's licking everyone's feet to come back to me. Charming. What do you think Cinderella's shoe size was? That
It was
only
4.
one? 4?
Yeah.
No, I think it was like a 4.5 or something. Or a 4. Why was it in 43?
It can't be.
It has to be. Like, there are bitches with big ass feet.
Yeah, but
Me.
none of them that you would feel bad for, He's like, who is this little maiden with her tiny feet? Let me save her.
But if I had
Us
43
with our
size-
UK 7 and
Yeah,
8.
but like my shoes are less common to find, so I would love my glass slippers back. I would.
You stand on it and it breaks.
I don't even need it to strike 12 for my clothes to rip off of me.
Have you ever gotten back together with an ex? And how did that work out
Oh.
for you?
I feel like, yeah, I've tried, but it's never worked out because, at some point you start holding on to the memory of the ex rather than actually wanting to get back to the ex. So it's never worked out. In fact, it's the best way to get over an ex is try to get back with them.
That's so true.
Because you're looking at them and you're like, what the fuck
Yeah.
was I thinking?
Yeah, my overactive imagination that refuses to do anything but romanticize a connection. And I have that thing, if somebody's giving me bhav, I'm like, okay, fine. The minute they move away, I'm like, no, that was the
Yeah.
guy. He's just so good.
Oh, I can't. If attention is not being reciprocated, I'm like, up to date. I can, I go scorched earth. My ego is, once it kicks in, it's very hard to kick out.
Yeah.
The clock can strike 12.
My
It's not-
ego needs if I go to sleep, my ego is reset. It's back on the
Really?
floor. And then I have to yank it up the whole day. I'm like, come on.
I feel like you actually have a very good sense of self. I don't know, maybe in a romantic context. So when you care.
When I care.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you let a lot of things go when you care, but in otherwise because we go to a lot of events together and Naina knows in which room she's conducting and in which room someone else is conducting, and that self-awareness is very rare, especially in our work.
I think the only difference between me in my 20s and me in my 30s is that I just know how I behave. I know that I struggle with self-worth and I struggle with my ego, and just knowing that and just conducting my life through that lens has made me more self-confident.
I could never tell. Hot people have problems too. It's crazy because Naina struggling with self-worth, so I should abuse it more.
Tu chhod.
Now I'll nichod. I'll send you words of de-affirmation every day to get my work done.
I am normal. I have no unique
That
quality
thing
about
you did
myself.
yesterday was really weird and everyone's thinking about. No, I would never.
Dude, the one thing that has started happening to me since I started my 30s was the drinking alcohol has become really bad. Like the next day, the hangover, I'll take the physical hangover any day. The mental hangover, the chemicals in my brain go up and down that I know 100% if I'm hungover, I'm having an anxiety attack and my mind is making up things that did not happen last night, and it has already decided that everyone in the room thought I was a freak.
Oh no,
you know, and
that's
I'm like,
crippling.
yeah,
though.
it is so crippling, and I'm like, it's like when you're going through a really bad trip and you're just sitting there being like, no, this is not you. This is the trip. This is the trip. So you have to wait till that day passes and then your chemicals realign. You're like,
Yeah.
no, that person was a freak, and I'm so glad she's not haunting me anymore.
But I mean, abusing alcohol or anything to get over a breakup.
Yeah, do it. No, I'm kidding. Don't do it. I did it.
Yeah.
So, and which
I
was,
don't know, abusing one glass of wine.
no. I was, I was a different person
Yeah.
in my previous life. Like, if you ask any of my friends in Delhi what was Naina like at a party, she wouldn't drink. She was uptight. She would not stay. She would leave at 9:30. She's so difficult to get her out of the house. Like, hated talking to people.
Yeah.
And when I had a breakup, something in my body just went like, you can't hear the word no anymore. And like I was just drinking and I was enjoying it. And then when my dad passed, that became lethal because I was drinking. And I'm like, to me, I don't think I'm drunk.
It's not abuse.
No, I'm like, I'm not feeling drunk. I'm feeling very sober, but I'm slurring. But
Yeah.
something is happening. The next day I wake up, I'm like, yeah, objectively, I was drunk. But in that moment, I felt nothing.
Okay.
It was like a Pakistani rock band. Like that's the music you listen to.
Oh.
Where you're like, ab to aadat si
Oh
hai."
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes-
Yeah.
No, for me, like I don't like drinking when or like abusing substances when I'm sad. I think for me, I also don't have a very addictive personality, and I think that makes a big difference because I could go on a bender and on day 4 I'm like I need to eat a vegetable and go to the gym. So I think for me it's like the hangover also cripples me so much that I would rather not drink. And I started feeling all my tension at the base of my neck. So as soon as I get stressed or drunk or anything, I get this pounding headache, which actually I haven't gotten since I got my masseuse. But anyway, yeah, so I don't I like to drink for musty, like when I can do chugli, when I can do some like ki, then I love drinking. But
Yeah.
other than that, like when I'm sad though, I've never felt like reaching for a bottle.
The fuck up is that I think I'm a fairly ethical person and fairly morally just person. And so when I see myself like outside my body and I see myself drinking or I see myself like, slacking at work, I'm like genuinely that scene from Fashion replays in my head. Like, who have you become? Like, who are
Really?
you? Who are you?
She's such a fun drunk. Like I'm not
I-
talking
I-
about the abuse of substances, but you're so fun.
I
Like
am.
yeah. Like, Naina's that typical, like, she's holding a glass of wine, she's swirling it, and she's like just passing sassy comments that, like, no one else would have the guts to pass. And then she'll make one person laugh, so it's not bullying. Like, it's so fun. I love you drunk.
Thank you.
And sober, but.
I love when we drink together because someone cries. And it's neither of us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It's like, I
That
don't think
is
we
so
realize
true.
what our package looks like from the outside. Like two hatti-katti women
I
in
swear.
their
we're
pencil
like-
heels.
yeah.
It's like,
Like-
you come here. We're going to pick on you now.
And they, like, voluntarily come.
But this happened to me at a party recently, and I was like, most of the time I am very, very fucking humble for my own good, okay? And then this one person comes up to me at this party, and they're like, I love the podcast. I love you and Sakshi. I said, yeah, you love the podcast? They're like, yeah, I love it. Went it like 4 times. I love the podcast. I said, okay, show me your subscription. No. And the guy pulls out his phone and he's like, what's it called? I'm like, bitch. My sister was there and I was like, Meera, look at this. You are now working in social media. This is the kind of person you will meet. Never fall for this
Yeah.
kind of person.
And this happens so often. Like, they'll insist that they follow. And my thing is, like, I don't care if you don't follow. Don't come and say you follow. I care if y'all don't follow, just by the way, because y'all are watching.
Subscribe to this
Yeah.
channel, please.
But
Yeah.
we're so close to 100K also. But anyway, but this happened to me in Croatia also, where these three girls, very sweet, they came and spoke to us. They had the same tattoo that I have here. So I like put my pants down in a McDonald's parking lot and shown them the tattoo. And she was like, I swear I follow you, like the podcast. And she whipped out her phone and then she like typed moment of silence and it just said follow, no follow back or something on my phone. So I was like, actually, you don't follow, which is fine. But
Which
why,
is fine.
Why tell me?
Don't get comfortable. Like, stop getting comfortable in my presence. I have a problem with this. People get too comfortable in my presence.
I feel like with Naina though, and I'm
And
sure
with
a lot of
Sakshi also in a
people
very
pleasers-
different way.
Yeah, but a lot of people pleasers, the way like people get comfortable with people pleasers is so jarring because they know that you're not gonna say no to anything that they ask. So they ask for such weirdly invasive things. Like they'll take I'm picturing like people have taken Naina's number in front of me and it's like they know Naina's not gonna say no, but they have no business asking for her number. And I know this happens even in like romantic context with people pleasers. Like I have no problem saying no to give my number, or like I'll give my brother's old number from back when he was living in Bombay. It's a no longer in service number, so I give that number all the time when I have to fake it. So I'm not pressed. But you give your actual number.
I
She feels
give, yeah.
bad if she doesn't give her actual number.
You know, in my 20s, I had infinite patience. And in my 30s, every time I do something like this act of, in therapy terms, self-abandonment, a little piece of me dies. Like every time I've said the last digit of my phone number, I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. You've done it again. Why can't you just stand up? Because if I can't stand up for myself in giving someone my number who owes me nothing,
Yeah.
how am I going to stand up for myself in a relationship?
I genuinely think numbers need to be more protected. Like no one should have your personal number.
And I'm like, if you were to, like, so many people have our numbers, right? They reach out to us every day. Like, you would not be able to, if you're coming to my office, you would have to take time from me to have a conversation with me. Now, because you have my WhatsApp number, like, please respond, come to this dinner. Please
I
come
got
to this
so
dinner.
triggered
Come to
last
this
week.
dinner. You did not respond. Please come to this dinner. I'm like, I don't fucking owe you a response.
And the thing is, I'm not even, again, same with the Indigo thing, I'm not mad at the employees. I'm mad at the employer. I'm not taking anyone's number without permission. I expect the same from other people. Like, it's just, like, I hate WhatsApp at this point.
And in like relationships and flirting and people who come up to you, right? Also, this happens a lot where someone comes up to you and they're so defensive. They've already decided that you're going to reject them. And no shit, I'm going to reject you. I don't owe you anything. And
Yeah.
separately, I'm in a relationship. So,
Separately.
yeah.
With her partner slash boyfriend.
Yeah. So, why do you start negging the, oh, of course you wouldn't do that. Like,
And genuinely, I think guys think that works. Like, I would never reach out because you would for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
But separately, what do you think is the transition period after a breakup where it's okay to hook up with someone else?
Depends on how bad the breakup was.
Normal.
I guess like a month, 2 months. I don't know.
Okay.
If it's like a really final breakup, then do whatever the fuck you have to do.
I would say 5 days.
Oh, clearly. Yeah. So I would not trust myself on the 5th day of my breakup. I would hook up with the wrong person.
There's no wrong person for a hookup.
There is a wrong person.
What?
I don't like hooking up like this. I don't like it. Like,
Just kiss the bottle.
yeah, me and my bottle, we're fine.
I feel like rebounds are like the best because you don't give a fuck what they think about you.
I don't want to share my energy with the rebound. It's not, I don't care what the rebound, fuck you rebound. I'm like me, me who is a fucking amazing, like a gift to the earth. You know, I need to
Yeah.
find another gift, and on day 5, you're not finding a gift, you're finding
I'm
a
not
gutter.
finding a gift for sure, but I'm having a good time. You can picture whoever you want. Like just a little flirting, a little like musty time with some stranger where you don't give a fuck about what they think and they will never see you again. Unless you pop up on their algorithm and that makes for a really weird conversation.
No, I would feel so distraught.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like I don't. I think the currency that you and me value is very different, in
different.
life because I'm like, मैं किसी को भी.
Like if someone I've hooked up with flashes on my feed, I hate myself.
Same, but you know, I have like full years of my life that I don't remember because I've squashed everything down.
And then I see that person and I'm like,
But it's in. No, they're all sweet people.
no, not for me.
That's so fair.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I
Because
feel like
mine are a fucking range of day 5 people. Day 5,
same.
yuck.
Day 5, whatever, bro. Like, I was in a bad space, man.
Has your inner self come out?
I was in a bad space, man.
I love you, yeah.
No, it's a dialogue from some movie. I was in a bad space, man.
No.
Where is it from? Comment down below.
I think that's what ages me. Like I think the most millennial thing about me is I can't do casual.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of people can't do casual. I think the only time to do casual is if you're madly in love with someone else.
How do you do casual then?
With someone else.
That's not casual.
How is that not casual?
If
With
you're
them,
ma-
though, it's casual.
Wait, sorry.
If
Am
I'm
I not
madly
clocking?
in love with you,
Yeah.
and I hook up with someone that's not you, then
That-
my energy towards not you is casual.
But why would you hook up with someone else if you're not madly in love with me? If you are madly in love with me.
Because we're breaking up.
What? No, I'm not understanding.
What do you mean? Okay,
One
say
second.
you and I are, A and B are in a relationship. A breaks up with B.
Yeah.
B is distraught and B still loves A. So B will go and flirt with C.
Yeah.
So B and C के बीच में तो casual है ना?
भाई B और C का क्या चल रहा है? चलना ही नहीं चाहिए.
That's what I'm saying. तो एक दिन के बाद नहीं चलता है. What did I do with all this pent up love for A?
Go to the gym.
Gym is 1
As a
hour,
good-
2 hours, 4
As a
hours.
famous
तो रात को क्या
philosopher and
करना है?
podcaster once said,
Go to
just
the
go
gym.
to the gym. I'm firmly, but again, that's something that ages me. I think that energy should be taken, like an ostrich, just dig a hole in the ground, shove your head inside it. Like, don't
I-
take it to someone's doorstep.
I think that's very Gen Z actually. I think millennials are down with the hookup culture.
Millennials are fully swinging, bro. Like,
Millennials are down with the hookup culture even if they have a partner at home.
millennials are fully
Yeah.
swinging. I mean, I'm just like,
Oh, swinging. I
Yeah.
thought of opinion. Yeah, yeah.
no, no, no.
Swingos type wala
Their
swinging.
opinions are one. They're
Yeah.
swinging in every direction.
Yeah.
I
But don't marry or rebound, I would say.
yeah.
Like, just because you're going for a breakup, don't get in the arranged marriage circuit. If you're still in love with your ex, don't get married to someone else because you're doing a disservice to yourself as well as the collateral damage.
I'd like to go back to the classic. If at the time of your wedding it is not 100% yes, it's a no. It's a no. It's a no today, it's a no tomorrow, it's a no 40 years from now.
And there's no need to get married to someone you know for less than 6 months.
I agree.
Yeah. It's okay. I'm also turning 30 next year. That Kida comes, but you'd rather get married to the love of your life later on in life than get married just because you're hitting the cusp of 30. कुछ नहीं होता. बच्चों के साथ भी क्या ही करोगे if you don't have a supportive partner that you love and like you don't want to get pregnant and then realize.
Yeah.
Unless you are, then it's fine. And there's no mistakes that can't be backtracked.
The panic at 30 to get married is real.
It's very real. I'm seeing it in front of my eyes. I'm getting like, you know, sometimes it's like everyone's getting on the train. So I'm like, do I also need to get on the train? Because clearly so many people cannot be lobotomized at the same time.
They are.
They are.
News flash.
Yeah.
Everyone is lobotomized.
In fact, I've told my boyfriend before I turn 30, so I don't want to get married because I want to know if I'm getting married because I'm turning 30 or I just happen to be turning 30 and I want to get married, which is fair.
I don't know how many people got married around the time I got married. The majority of them are divorced or on their way to separating or on the way to their second marriage.
Same.
Yeah.
I know 4 of my friends actually, they got married because the turning 30 rush was getting to them. And unfortunately, 2 years later, these glaringly obvious red flags that were there at the time of their wedding, but they thought they were fixable through the course of the marriage, were not fixable. So they had to get a divorce. And the thing is, it's fine. Better sooner than later if you
Correct.
have to get a divorce. And whatever, whenever divorce is pretty reversible, like, I mean, a marriage is pretty reversible, but I'm like, why go through the stress of planning a wedding if you just like plan a night out, plan a trip?
No, the wedding is still more fun than the divorce.
Yeah.
That I think firstly, everybody that I know that's gotten divorced, it's not like, oh, they are very progressive or liberal, that's how unka chal nahi raha hai because ladki ke bahut opinion hai or some shit,
Nahi,
some fucking
हाँ.
jargon that's spewed all the
Yeah.
time. Very conservative people I know have gotten divorced, very progressive people have gotten divorced, and this is not like 1 year later, this is 3 months, 3 months, 3
Yeah.
months, 3 months. Everyone's saying 3-month divorce, 3-month divorce. The only difference is that the more trad one will be a harder divorce.
Yeah.
And like divorce is really just not fun, even in the most mutual way. It's still really not nice. You don't want to keep seeing this person that you loved
You don't
in a
want the
court of
government
law.
to know that you made a bad choice. Like, like it's fine, but why?
I'm in the divorce court, okay,
Yeah.
with my ex, and we're standing there, and we're like two fucking South Delhi people. We're like, yeah, let's like, I think this relationship is over. So like,
Your
peace.
honor.
Yeah.
Not
And
my
literally,
honor.
the person before me is like this one rickshaw driver and his wife, and the wife is like, the attorney is fighting for, like, you need to give her alimony. She needs 10,000 rupees a month, and both me and my ex are looking at each other like, whoa, like this is extremely different, and this seems like life got really serious, and whatever we are doing is some like
Cosplay.
cosplay
Yeah.
of relationship. And
No, but that's so true. I
Yeah.
feel like uh, I think marriages only work if, like, that when you get married, it becomes only a piece of paper and every other kink is figured out. Like, a marriage is just that's the biggest certificate that I am vouching for everything this person is as a human.
Yeah.
If you think marriage or a child is going to change a person, you are sorely mistaken. I'm not going to stop smoking just because I'm pregnant.
That was a joke, guys. That was
Yeah,
a
that was
joke.
a joke. That
Yeah.
was a joke. But yeah, that's what I'm. But I do think that it's a lot of parents' ka fault also. They like get married, get married, get married. It's like,
Ek to my parents, they're such sweet people. Like, we never put the pressure on you. तो I'm like, तो क्या हुआ भाई? तो क्या हुआ? अब मैंने किया. They're like, हमने तो नहीं बोला कि तुमको करने की जरूरत थी. तुमने किया. So I'm like, your little daughter, बेचारी, her heart is broken. You can't be like, oh, sorry,
I told
bro.
you so. This was not me, not me, not me. No, it's good. Get married, get divorced, do whatever.
Do whatever.
But subscribe
Yeah.
to Moss, I would say. First and foremost. Watch it at the divorce court, watch it at the marriage registrar. Just watch
Just
Moss,
watch it.
I feel.
Yeah.
And like, whose marriage and divorce trajectory is really tripping me up? Ariana Grande.
Did she get married?
She got married, then she got divorced, and she started dating a married man. Then she broke up with him after his marriage broke up. And now she's been writing a lot of songs about her background dancer / performer.
I mean, I think there's something very nice to multiple weddings.
Chic.
Chic. I think it's chic.
I think a divorce in your 20s is chic,
Yeah.
I would say. I think a marriage in your 20s is not chic.
When is it marriage? In what age is chic?
I think 35 to 40 marriage, chic.
35 to 40.
Yeah.
So I have you for 5 years.
I never said I'm going to be chic. I'm tacky to my core. Like, listen to my voice. There's nothing old money chic about this care that happens. So I might get married in a couple of years. Let's see. The other party also has to agree. Or I'll marry a tree. Chic.
Marrying a tree? Chic. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Guys, this is not an admission of guilt of loving someone for sure.
But this is, I think, maybe the last 6-8 months of you being in your 20s. Any
Yeah.
bucket list items before you become depressingly old?
You know what? I've been saying I'm 30 since the last 2 years. I'm like, I'm almost 30. I'm almost 30. I've been saying, I do think I want like a fun 30th birthday. Like, that's about it. My body age is still 27. So I have 3 more years. Unless I start reverse aging.
It is reverse aging. All women look better as they grow older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, and Botox, now that I've dabbled in it, who's to say I won't? Yeah. And if this podcast reaches 100K, I don't think we'll have wrinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only from smiling too much.
Like, you know, that day we were discussing this man's age, and we were like, he has to be in his early 40s, has to be in his early 40s. He's 34. And I was so offended because I was like, this man and Naina Bhan, the angel, cannot be in the same birth year because that man is really doing a disservice to the birth year. And then I told Naina that, hey, XYZ is the same age as you, and you were also offended.
I'm very offended.
Like, I don't know why he looks the way he I
I
can't say
don't
the
hang out
name.
with people my own age because they just let go of themselves.
They kill the aesthetics
yeah.
of your age.
I'm like, we can all afford to work out. We can all we do all the other things with our
Yeah.
time. We invest in craft beer. Then why can't
Yeah.
you just get a nice haircut and just
Just have some aura.
Yeah,
Like,
little
you can't
aura.
have this. Like, honestly, if you told me this man went to college with my dad, I would not doubt it that much.
same.
Comment down below who you think is aging poorly. This is a year of breakups. So if you.
Just randomly
It
decided.
is the year of breakups.
because you met two people who had a breakup.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
it's the year of breakups.
So it's good. You're trendy if you've had a breakup recently.
Yeah. Going through the winter single, chic.
Going through the summer single,
Chic. Breaking up over text,
chic.
chic. And the longer you've dated, the shorter the text. I feel.
Yeah.
Chic. Très
Just
chic.
block. Chic. Blocking your ex,
Chic.
chic. Unblocking your ex, not chic.
Ghosting,
Chic.
chic. Giving someone a reason for why it's not working, chic.
No. Let them come up with their own conclusions.
Yeah.
Who are you to feed them reasons it's not working?
Anxiety is like a bread starter. You have to just keep feeding it and then
Yeah.
it rises on its own.
Pulling things out of your ass from one last
Literally.
episode. Chic.
Becoming your worst self after a breakup,
Grunge chic.
Grunge chic.
Becoming your best self after a breakup, chic. I'll tell you what, breakup chic, being in a relationship chic, having relationship problems every week, not
Not
chic.
chic. Not chic. Why
Yeah.
are you there?
Fucking someone else to get away your air.
Chic.
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 Alcohol abuse, chic.
Not chic. Not chic, but it's damn fun doing it.
Coloring your hair atrangi colors,
Not chic.
not chic. Coloring your hair the same color as your eyes so that everyone thinks you had a transformation, chic.
Balayage, always chic.
Chic.
Money piece, not
chic.
chic.
Subscribing to Moss, chic. Hyping this video, chic. Not staying till the end, not chic. Anyway, this is the end, so y'all can go.
Break up with someone. Bye.